After hearing Justin argue with his grandfather, I became much more distant toward him. The first time he argued with his grandfather was to protect his ex-girlfriend. He said carelessly, "If you hadn't forced me to marry her back then, Elena's and my child would already be calling me dad." I began avoiding occasions where he was present and stopped disturbing him. In public, I took the initiative to clarify my relationship with him. When my colleagues saw me get out of his passenger seat, they asked gossipingly what our relationship was. I pressed my lips together and smiled. "He's my cousin." I saw the smile at the corner of Justin's lips freeze, his face turning gloomy. Chapter 01. I had forgotten something and returned home, only to hear voices coming from the study. When I heard the conversation between Justin and his grandfather, I froze. Grandfather's face was livid. "Justin, did you help that woman again? You and Lisa have been married for 2 years, and you still don't have a child." Justin's voice was cold and clear. "Grandpa, she has a name." Grandfather sneered. "Elena? If she had even a little sense, she shouldn't have asked you for this favor. If Lisa finds out about this, what is she supposed to think?" "I think Elena has ulterior motives. She's no decent person." Perhaps that sentence displeased Justin. His brows furrowed slightly. "Grandpa, I only gave her an internal referral." Grandfather let out a mocking laugh. "Only an internal referral? The news has already reached me. If she were a good person, then knowing you're married, she should have kept her distance instead of shamelessly coming close and fantasizing about inserting herself into someone else's family. You and Lisa have been married for 3 years, and you still don't have a child." Justin's voice was somewhat cold, and his expression remained calm as he slowly said, "If you hadn't forced me to marry her back then, my wife would have been Elena. Maybe our child would already be calling me dad." My eyelashes trembled violently, and my breathing stalled. Grandfather raised his hand, picked up the glass on the table, and threw it at him. His voice was deep as he shouted angrily, "Nonsense. Justin, how can you say something like that?" Justin let out a cold laugh. "If you really wanted to repay them, you should have gone looking for that mother and daughter years ago. Only after she grew up and started working did you remember you needed to repay a life-saving debt." Grandfather was so angry that his face flushed red, and he flew into a rage. "You really are rebelling. Do you like that Elena so much? For her sake, can you even say such words?" This was the first time I had ever seen Justin argue with his grandfather, and also the first time I had seen grandfather so furious with him. Justin always looked careless, with a lazy air about him, but he had always respected his elders. Yet now, for Elena's sake, he was contradicting his grandfather. I walked to the shoe rack by the entrance, picked up the file I had forgotten, and left. "If you hadn't forced me to marry her back then, my wife would have been Elena." Justin's words echoed beside my ears. I had heard every word clearly, making the tip of my heart tremble. For one brief moment, I had actually thought that he married me because of feelings between a man and a woman. We had spent 3 years together, and in this moment, every bit of emotion was completely denied by him. He married me only to repay the life-saving grace my grandfather had shown his family. Chapter 02. Only after arriving at the company did I learn that the newly appointed director of the design department was Elena. So Justin had given her an internal referral for the position. The hiring standards for our company's design department were extremely high. It was at the top of the industry, and everyone who could establish themselves here was outstanding. Competition here was fierce. In the small space of the workplace, every inch was a battlefield of fame and profit, especially in a place that dealt with artistic design. Elena's parachute appointment caused an uproar in the company. Our marketing department often dealt with the design department. Everyone in the department was discussing Elena's background. I heard that the person backing her is the president of Elena Tech. She has a powerful backer. Actually, she didn't get in through connections. It's because Justin from Elena Tech handed over all of this year's design work to her. She came with resources. Our company had already wanted to build a connection with the president of Elena. With those resources in hand, of course she could become director as soon as she arrived. Someone chimed in, "Alas, success is 3 parts hard work and 7 parts luck." But for ordinary people like us, it's hard to have that kind of backer. I had met Elena once before. She was the same age as Justin. She was 4 years older than me. When we met, I had treated her like an older sister. At the time, I still did not know that she was actually Justin's ex-girlfriend. Besides her, some of Justin's other friends were also present. We had a meal together. In Justin's social circle, I found it hard to fit in. Elena took the initiative to hold my hand and called me little sister. At the dining table, among 7 or 8 people, only she and I were women. She told me I could call her sister. Elena was already very familiar with those people and chatted easily with them. She took the initiative to speak to me, easing my awkwardness. At that time, I had been extremely grateful to her in my heart. During the conversation, when she learned that Justin and I were going to get married, she froze for a moment. Then she smiled at me and even took the initiative to share little tips about romance with me. While saying those things, she also looked at Justin. Justin glanced at her, then took a small sip of wine. That night, Justin was somewhat drunk. Before leaving, in the corridor, I heard him talking with his friend. Bro, are you really just letting it end like this? Elena is going abroad. Aren't you going to see her off tomorrow? Justin's tone was very light, and the corners of his eyes were a little red. Yeah, this is how it ends. I could not tell whether he had cried or whether it was because of the alcohol. But at the time, I only thought he was drunk. Only now did I learn that he had gotten drunk that day because of Elena. Those romance tips Elena had shared came from her experience with Justin. She had deliberately said those things to me in front of Justin, and I had naively treated her like an older sister. Only after being married to Justin for 3 years did I learn these things, and my chest felt stifled. I also remembered that dinner. The hotel's signature dish was tempura. Someone placed 1 shrimp on my plate and 1 on hers. Justin suddenly spoke, his tone careless. Elena is allergic to shrimp. Only now did I realize that they understood each other so well. With such tacit understanding, everyone present was their friend. No one else knew Elena was allergic to shrimp. But he did, because they used to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Chapter 03. Before getting off work in the evening, Justin sent me a message. I have a business dinner tonight. This time, I did not reply. That night, I did not prepare sobering tea, nor did I leave a light on for him in the living room. When we were newly married, I had thought that doing small things like this between husband and wife could touch each other's hearts, that it could bring me closer to him. I would also go to the airport to wait for him when he returned from business trips. Now, I would no longer do any of these things. Just as I was about to fall asleep, faint rustling sounds came from outside the bedroom. The door was pushed open, and Justin's gaze met mine. I withdrew my gaze and walked toward the bed. Saying nothing to him, Justin's brows furrowed slightly. Why didn't you leave the living room light on today? I said, it wastes electricity. He curled his lips, and a soft laugh escaped his throat. So frugal? I ignored him. After he washed up and came out, I was still not asleep. A warm palm covered my abdomen, and the man's arm wrapped around me from behind. I instinctively pushed his hand away, but he only held me tighter. His voice was low and hoarse. Let's have a child. My body stiffened, turning somewhat numb. That sentence of his kept lingering beside my ears. Maybe Elena's and my child would already be calling me dad. I forcefully removed his hand, quietly shifted back a little, and widened the distance between us. We turned toward each other, our eyes meeting. Justin, I don't want a child for now. Hearing this, his expression became somewhat stunned and loosened. A year ago, I had hinted to him that I wanted a child. Now, I was grateful that we did not have one. I moved to the edge of the bed, and the space between us was still wide enough for 2 more people to lie down. From the moment I heard what he said, I slowly began keeping my distance from him. Chapter 04. I woke up as soon as dawn broke. In the morning, when my eyes met Justin's, I felt inexplicably awkward. Neither of us spoke. He gave me a meaningful sidelong glance. I ignored his gaze and walked out. In the past, I had stubbornly and childishly insisted on buying matching things, trying to make couple items with Justin. When I saw the matching cups and toothbrushes while washing up, I only found it laughable. Before leaving, Justin told me he was going on a business trip. I nodded to show I understood. Justin was away for a week. Before he returned, I was working overtime. He sent me a message. I've landed at the airport. Only then did I suddenly realize that I had not sent him a message for an entire week. Before hearing him say those things, I would share my daily life with him, what I had eaten, what I had done. His replies, after a few exchanges, were always only those few words. Got it. I replied. By the time I got home, the lights in the house were already on. Justin was already home. He had changed into loungewear, his temperament clean and refined. Why didn't you come to the airport today? As if possessed, I asked back. Why should I go? Once those words were said, both of us paused. The corner of Justin's lips curved up. My assistant said the dried mangoes in Thailand were good, so I brought some back. Try them. He handed them to me. I glanced at them but did not take them. In truth, I was allergic to dried mango. His brows lifted slightly. You don't like them? I remember you liked mango mousse. I ate mango mousse because he had bought it, and I could not bear to refuse. Justin remembered that Elena was allergic to shrimp, yet he had never known that I was allergic to mango. Put them on the table. The next day, I gave some to the housekeeper and took some to the company to share with my colleagues. Chapter 05. News related to Elena was still spreading through the company. I found out Elena is the ex-girlfriend of the president of Alien Tech. Really? I've seen the boss before. At the product launch half a year ago. He's so handsome. And very tall too. I thought he would be bald with a beer belly. But he was shockingly handsome. Of course it's true. Alas. Handsome men really never have an empty window period. To be able to win over a favored son of heaven like Justin, Elena must not be simple either, right? She must be pretty too. Listening to them gossip about Justin and his ex-girlfriend in the elevator lobby. My heart still could not help trembling. Elena came to report for work that afternoon. When the people from our marketing department saw her, they immediately returned to the department to spread gossip. Friends, I just came back from the design department. Elena is here. You saw her? What does she look like? Is she pretty? The colleague who had seen Elena said. She's tall, with long, thin legs. A complete beauty. She could debut as a model, celebrity, or idol with no problem at all. About the same as Lisa. I paused. Elena was indeed beautiful. She had a bright, striking appearance, with small and delicate features. A colleague sighed. No wonder she could win Justin over. Justin must still be unable to forget her. In my opinion, she and Justin still have a chance. Just before getting off work, I went to deliver some documents. While waiting for the elevator, I came face to face with Elena. She recognized me and called out with a smile. Lisa. I nodded and smiled slightly in response. She said, I didn't expect you to be at Qingxing too. I just came to report for work today. I'm the director of the design department. I only said, welcome to Qingxing. Our department worked overtime that day. Friends, it's raining outside. I bought a cup of coffee and saw Justin when I came back. I even secretly took a photo and sent it to the group. Look, in the rain. Justin held a black umbrella. Beneath the umbrella were a man and a woman. Justin's umbrella tilted toward Elena. His own shoulder was soaked. This is way too ambiguous. Justin is so gentlemanly. As expected. The ambiguous stage is the best to ship. Those words pierced my chest with perfect accuracy. Sourness spread through me. After learning that Justin and Elena had once been together, I started searching through the traces for their past. They were university alumni. They had dated in university, and they were each other's first love. Chapter 06. When I got off work, the rain had almost stopped. That night, I did not go home for dinner. I went out with my good friend Zoe to pick a birthday gift for another male friend. I bought a bottle of YSL men's cologne. Justin was also home. He had just finished showering, and the ends of his hair on his forehead were still dotted with water. His gaze landed on the bag in my right hand. The man's voice was clear and cool, his pace unhurried. A gift for me? I looked at him in confusion, finding it inexplicable. No, my friend's birthday is tomorrow. Justin froze slightly. Lisa, today is my birthday. I had been too busy lately and had forgotten. Only then did I come back to myself and say, Happy birthday. He smiled. I thought you would prepare something for me. I said, Sorry, I forgot. A strange trace of disappointment flashed very quickly through Justin's deep eyes. Chapter 07. Justin offered to drive me to the company. I was a little puzzled and refused him. Thanks. But I can drive myself. And Elena is also at our company. Aren't you afraid she'll misunderstand? Justin frowned, his long, narrow eyes narrowing slightly as he looked at me. Misunderstand? Misunderstand what? I said nothing. He said slowly, your car was sent for maintenance by the assistant. If you don't want to squeeze onto the subway and be late, you can take my car. His car stopped outside the company building. Why aren't we going to the parking garage? He curled his lips into a smile. It's more convenient here. During rush hour, people came and went. I cautiously looked around. He said, are you acting like a thief? I did not want to become a part of the gossip among colleagues between him and Elena. As luck would have it, the moment I got out of the car, I ran into a colleague. My heart leapt into my throat. Justin's car was far too conspicuous. My colleague walked forward. Director, who is this? She raised her brows and smiled gossipingly. Is he your boyfriend? Justin lowered his eyes and met mine. His thin lips parted slightly. I quickly interrupted. My cousin. I saw the smile in Justin's eyes freeze, and his expression turn gloomy. The man lowered his gaze to look at me, and the warmth between his brows and eyes faded. I smiled and said to him, cousin, I'll go first. His expression grew even darker, and his gaze suddenly turned cold. In the elevator, my colleague said, he looks so familiar. Suddenly, she said in surprise, Director, Justin is your cousin? I smiled awkwardly. Ah, yes. Chapter 08. At noon, Justin sent me a message. It was his lunch. I found it inexplicable, so I did not reply. A moment later, he sent another message. What about you? I said, I'm full. He asked again, what did you eat? Me, food. There was still an hour before getting off work when he directly called me. I'll come pick you up later. I refused. No need. Tonight is my friend's birthday. Justin laughed softly. A man? How did he know? That bottle you bought last night was men's cologne. He was right. It's a man. Justin said again. Send me the address. I'll pick you up after it ends. I frowned. Why did he insist on picking me up? There really is no need. My friend will take me home. I can also take a taxi. After saying that, I hung up. Zoe drove her red supercar, making an extremely flashy entrance. I sat in her passenger seat. When we arrived, she asked me excitedly, how does my makeup look today? Will Eric like it? I nodded. Perfect. She smiled with satisfaction. I spent 2 hours on it. After everyone had arrived, Eric, the birthday boy, arrived too. Then we went to a bar. It did not end until almost midnight. Zoe had drunk quite a lot, so Eric called a designated driver for her. I had not driven, but Eric suddenly offered to drive me home. He said there was something he needed my help with. I roughly guessed what it was. On the way, he told me he wanted to confess to Zoe and asked what kind of confession Zoe liked. Zoe had once told me that she did not like anything earth-shattering. She only hoped that while the two of them were taking a walk together, he would suddenly hold her hand and say to her, I like you. Under the dark night, a tall man stood there. Justin had both hands in his pockets. His deep eyes slightly narrowed as he looked at me inside the car. Then, his gaze passed over me and landed on Eric. I unbuckled my seatbelt. Thank you. Eric also got out of the car and called out to Justin. Bro. Justin tugged faintly at the corner of his mouth, carrying a slight disdain. A very soft scoff escaped him. Bro? I'm Lisa's husband, not her cousin. Eric nodded. I'm a friend of Lisa. Then, bro, I'll head off first. See you next time. After Eric left, Justin's gaze followed me without moving. You remembered his birthday, but forgot mine? Actually, I remembered. I had prepared his birthday gift half a year in advance. It was a Patek Philippe watch. After hearing what he said to his grandfather, I felt there was no need to give it to him. All those traces related to Elena had been dug out by me. I bought that watch because Elena said Justin liked watches from that brand. I had gritted my teeth and chosen that brand. After learning why Elena knew what he liked, I wanted to give it even less. It was simply a waste of my money. I lowered my eyes. I told you happy birthday yesterday. That watch was still in my closet. Chapter 09. I had to go on a business trip tomorrow afternoon. I had stayed up late the night before, and by the time I woke up, Justin had already gone to the company. I began packing my luggage and headed to the airport. By the time I landed, it was already night. I saw several missed calls. They were from Justin. Still not home? If you're working overtime at the company, I'll come pick you up. I said, no, I'm on a business trip. After a long silence, his voice carried a trace of hoarseness. Why didn't you tell me? I'm getting in the car. I'll stop here. After I hung up, Justin quickly sent another message. When are you coming back? I'll pick you up. I refused him. I'm with my colleagues. We'll take the company car. No need. No one really wanted to come on this business trip, so I had volunteered. Compared to going on a business trip, I wanted even less to stay with Justin. 3 days later, I returned to Jing City. After landing, I hurried straight back to the company. There was a business dinner tonight, so after getting off work, I rushed over again. After several rounds of drinks, when things were about to end, sounds of fighting came from the private room next door. I heard that the people in the next room were from the design department, so we hurried over. Justin was filled with violence, clutching a man by the collar and smashing a fist into him, one punch after another. His strikes were fast and ruthless. Justin's friend held him back. Justin, don't beat him until something happens. The pressure around Justin was extremely low. His usual warmth had faded, replaced by fury. His eyes were cold and sharp. Our group stood to one side. Elena's clothes were somewhat disheveled, and Justin draped his suit jacket over her shoulders. From what my colleagues said, it seemed that some investor had said something disrespectful to Elena and angered Justin. That man was notorious in our company for being shameless and lecherous. So when Justin beat him, he did not dare fight back. And everyone applauded. Justin is protecting his own. Great. Finally, someone stepped in to deal with him. Justin looks so handsome protecting director Elena. Because of this scene, rumors immediately spread through the company that Justin and Elena had rekindled their old relationship and gotten back together. The man stood tall and straight, lowering his eyes slightly as he looked down at the person on the floor. Indifference spread through his brows and eyes, and there was an innate nobility in his bones. Kevin? Keep your mouth clean. If your father won't educate you, then don't blame others for doing it for him. A few colleagues whispered quietly. Someone from the design department just told me that it was because Kevin spoke rudely and made dirty jokes about Elena in public. He even reached out and pulled at Elena's clothes. That's why Justin got angry. Justin's tall, upright figure shielded Elena behind him. Kevin lay on the floor, covering his face. I stood outside the door. I saw Justin take Elena's hand and protect her as he led her out. When Justin lifted his head, our gazes met. He froze, clearly somewhat stunned. He was still holding Elena's hand, their posture intimate. Anyone who saw them would think they were a couple. I looked at them lightly, then turned and left. For one instant, panic flashed through Justin's eyes. He let go of the woman's hand beside him and walked toward me. But there were too many people watching, blocking him. I walked toward the elevator. Before the elevator doors closed, through the gap, our eyes met once. I had not drunk alcohol, so I could drive. I took the elevator down to the parking garage. The car started, and in the rearview mirror, I saw the man's tall figure chasing after me. Chapter 10. Justin's car quickly caught up. His car followed behind mine, all the way until we reached the underground parking garage at home. I got out of the car, and he also slammed his car door shut and caught up. Panic surged in Justin's eyes, and a thin layer of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Lisa, compared to his anxious expression, my face showed no change. It was as if nothing had happened. What's wrong? Justin's voice was tense. That scene just now, I was afraid you'd get jealous. Jealous? I could not help smiling. Justin, I'm not jealous. His gaze remained tightly fixed on my face. Yet after receiving this answer, his brows furrowed. I said, the elevator is here. Let's go. Chapter 11. That weekend, I went back to the old residence to see grandfather. Grandfather was somewhat surprised to see me. You came back alone? I nodded. We went to the study. Grandfather, after thinking about it, I still wanted to let you know first. I want to divorce Justin. Grandfather took a deep breath. Grandfather, I heard the conversation between you and Justin that day. It was only after hearing it that I learned Elena was Justin's ex-girlfriend. Grandfather's eyes turned moist. Even at his age, he was still hale and energetic. His gaze sharp. You heard it. Then grandfather has no face to say anything more. Back then, our family did not handle things thoroughly enough. Only now did we remember to repay you and your mother. That is my fault. If you want a divorce, grandfather will no longer stop you too. From the very beginning, I truly liked Justin. It was not because of his family background. When I had the chance to be with him and marry him, I had been excited for a long time. It felt like a pie had fallen from the sky. Who would not want to be with the person they liked? After leaving Justin's family home, I went to the company to work overtime. Recently, I had been applying for a transfer to become head of the Americas marketing department. When this promotion opportunity was first placed in front of me, I almost rejected it. Fortunately, I had not acted impulsively. Preparing all kinds of materials and handing over work made me extremely busy. After finishing overtime, I went to the law firm to find Eric. He was a divorce lawyer. Zoe and he were progressing much faster than I had imagined. They had already gone all the way. Given Zoe's personality, I felt that within 3 months, I would be able to drink wedding wine. Zoe had always dared to love and hate. Passionate and dazzling. Chapter 12. On Sunday, one of Justin's friends was getting married. Justin asked me whether I wanted to go with him. In the past, I would have participated very actively. I've been busy with work recently, and I still have work to handle. You go. The man's gaze rested heavily on me. Then he withdrew it. Okay. Chapter 13. On a work day. Unsurprisingly, what had happened at last Friday's business dinner spread through the company. I admired their speed. I thought that no matter how strong a person's heart was, it would still be impossible to work with Elena in an environment like this. After all, I had no tendency toward self-torture. I had truly loved Justin, but now I truly no longer liked him. There was a meeting in the afternoon. Justin led his company team to Chingxing for an evaluation. The design department had not secured all of Elena Tech's design work. Other than the design department, our marketing and operations departments were also involved. When it was my turn to present with the PowerPoint, I calmly and steadily explained my points. My gaze did not linger on Justin for even a single second, but I could feel his burning gaze. This was my final presentation here. If everything went smoothly, barring any accident, I would be promoted and leave. When the promotion opportunity appeared, I had been uneasy. After all, it was a foreign country far from home. But suddenly, I was no longer afraid. I only wanted to try. When the meeting ended, Justin stepped forward in one long stride and grabbed my arm. Elena hurried after him in small steps. The man's cold, clear voice was wrapped in a faint hoarseness. Have lunch with me. I smiled and glanced at Elena. No need. Cousin. I emphasized the word cousin. Everyone around us was stunned. Justin's expression darkened, and he gritted out my name. Lisa. I have no interest in playing cosplay with my own wife. Neither Elena nor I had expected this. My brows lifted slightly in surprise. Everyone's gazes moved over Elena. Elena, who had always regarded herself as Justin's ambiguous romantic interest, lost face at this moment. She had always cared about her dignity. Her face instantly flushed red, and she rushed out. I looked in the direction she had left. Justin, it's still not too late for you to go after her. He let out a cold laugh and lowered his gaze to look at me coldly. Why would I go after her? My wife is you, and you are right here. Chapter 14. Overnight. The rumors about Justin and Elena disappeared from the company. No one dared mention Justin anymore. When Eric finished drafting the divorce agreement for me, I brought up the divorce with Justin. When he returned home, I laid everything bare. Justin, let's get divorced. You also know about the recent rumors in our company regarding you and Elena. If you still like her, you still have a chance now. Justin narrowed his eyes slightly, his gaze deep. He let out a cold laugh. Lisa, I didn't know you were this generous. You can push your own man toward someone else. I looked at him. Justin, I don't think we need to argue about meaningless things like this. Read the divorce agreement carefully. Justin did not look at it. His tone was slow. You want a divorce. Did grandfather agree? I smiled. Justin, he is your grandfather. Even if grandfather didn't agree, I would still divorce you. Besides, I have already spoken to grandfather. He knows. Justin frowned, his expression turning colder. Why? Did you fall for that pretty boy? I was confused. What pretty boy? His thin lips tugged slightly. That bottle of men's cologne last time was a birthday gift for him. You forgot my birthday, but you remembered another man's? I did not beat around the bush with him. His name is Eric. He is my friend's boyfriend. You don't need to make things up. Justin casually tossed the divorce agreement onto the table. I do not agree to the divorce. My tone was mocking. Justin, do you want to know why I want a divorce? Justin's eyes darkened slightly. You never deliberately hid your relationship with Elena from me. But you also never told me that she was your ex-girlfriend. Justin, you were the one who arranged for her to enter Qingxing through an internal referral. Did you ever think about how embarrassing those rumors would make things for me in that kind of setting? Justin frowned. I never referred her to Qingxing. I did help her, but only by passing along her design drafts and acting as an intermediary. As for her going to Qingxing, that happened not long ago, on the rainy day when I went to your company to pick you up. But you told me you were working overtime, and I happened to run into her. She didn't have an umbrella. Because of our previous relationship, I sent her home, but that was all. I did not even get close to her to avoid suspicion. I would rather get wet myself than walk under the umbrella. My assistant said someone from your company secretly took a photo of that scene, causing many misunderstandings and rumors. I was trying to avoid suspicion. So how did it become me willingly getting soaked just to hold an umbrella for her? With a trace of sarcasm, I said, Justin, you have so many reasons and excuses. If not for your behavior, how could there be so many misunderstandings? Secondly, that day, you beat Kevin to protect her. The whole company was talking about it. Justin chuckled softly, his Adam's apple moving up and down. Again, something your colleagues spread? I don't think that was about protecting Elena. Everyone present at the time knew very well that Kevin had secretly taken upskirt photos. He became furious from embarrassment and hit Elena. I think I stepped forward simply to help Elena, not because she was my ex-girlfriend. If you hadn't forced me to marry her back then, my wife would have been Elena. Justin, of course, did not agree to the divorce, and so we remained in a deadlock for half a month. Chapter 15. What made him finally give up was when I brought up that day. He asked me, why did you sentence our relationship to death just like this? I think you should at least give me a chance. I lifted my eyelids and met his gaze. Calmly, I said, I heard the conversation between you and grandfather. Justin froze. Panic and helplessness appeared in his indifferent eyes. Maybe our child would already be calling me dad. I repeated those words to him, one by one. His body paused slightly, and his face carried a cold, pale whiteness. You remember those words, right? You said them with your own mouth. I thought our relationship was good, but with a single sentence, you denied all 3 years of our feelings. I was the only fool who thought you loved me too. As I was about to turn away, he quickly grabbed my hand. Lisa, I apologize for what I said then. I'm sorry. Those were angry words I said while arguing with grandfather. I have never denied my feelings for you. If I truly did not want to accept you, or if I still liked Elena, I absolutely would not have married you. He held my hand tightly and lowered his eyes to look at me. His features were deep and refined. Justin, do you know? The moment you said those words, we were already over. Even if I am willing to continue now, we will still explode one day in the future. That sentence will always be buried in my heart. Whenever there is even the slightest disturbance in our relationship, I will remember it. If marrying me made you feel pain, if it made you miss the chance to be with her, then I apologize to you. I never thought of using my grandfather's life-saving kindness to force you to marry me. I wanted to marry you because, at the time, I loved you. Chapter 16. I told my mother about the divorce over the internet. After learning about it, my mother did not blame me for divorcing. She was afraid I would be sad. so she carried big and small bags of local specialties from Linzhou and flew alone to find me. When I learned that she had come alone, I could not help crying. My mother hugged me. I asked her, "Mom, do you think I'm being dramatic?" My mother smiled. "Silly child, how could I? Only you understand the grievances you suffer in a relationship. Your grandfather and father are both gone. I have not had it easy. But does that mean it was easy for you to be our child?" Mom never wanted to use a little kindness to morally kidnap Justin's family. "I agreed to you marrying him because I could see that my daughter liked him. This was the first time since adulthood that I lay in the same bed as my mother. Mom, once I settle down in New York, I'll bring you over to live with me, okay?" My mother's brows and eyes were gentle. "Okay, I'll wait for you." Chapter 17. I went to New York alone. In high school, I had left my town and gone to the county seat to board at school. Then I went from the county seat to Jing City. Along this road, I spent a great deal of time and energy, and I also suffered a great deal. Fortunately, I never gave up on myself. This time, I could rely on my own ability to go somewhere even farther. The first time I went to the county seat in high school, I was anxious and uneasy. Now, I was calmly heading toward another part of the world. There was no longer the unease and timidity from before. What I had was anticipation and excitement for the future. At the airport, I vaguely felt that someone was behind me. It was not until after I passed through security and looked back that I saw the man's tall figure standing in the crowd. Our eyes met. He smiled slightly, his eyes faintly red. After arriving in New York, I spent a month adapting to life there. The work atmosphere there was good. There was also less gossip. Everyone valued privacy and did not expose too much. 3 months later, I returned to the country again. Aside from bringing my mother over, I also had to handle the divorce with Justin. I had agreed on a time with him. We both arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau on time. Justin's eyes were lowered. When he signed, his fingertips paused slightly. I saw his brows and eyes suddenly turn red, his long lashes trembling softly, restrained tears silently rolling down. After the divorce procedures were finished, Justin stared tightly at me, his eyes red. He had always been noble and proud, but now he looked lonely and desolate. After a long time, he asked me in a hoarse voice, "Lisa, marrying me, do you regret it?" Speaking honestly, I did not regret it. I felt that everyone had their own lesson to face. He was the lesson I needed to deal with. In my relationship with him, I had also truly felt the kindness he showed me, and Justin's delicate love. If not for those words, I would have kept walking with him, even if they were words spoken in anger. They became the point of conflict between us. "Justin, I don't regret it." He nodded too. "I regret saying those words. Some words fall lightly on the heart, yet they weigh so heavily." After the divorce, I received a large sum of money. In addition, because his family felt they owed my grandfather for saving their lives, I received an eye-opening amount, as well as company shares. Chapter 18. Justin's perspective. When did I start to feel her change? To be precise, it was the night I argued with grandfather. She no longer left a light on for me, and she even forgot my birthday. And when she bought a bottle of men's cologne, I felt somewhat jealous. She remembered someone else's birthday, but not mine. So I deliberately offered to drive her the next day. I wanted to know whether that man was her colleague. She denied our relationship in front of her colleague. My heart remained painfully sour. Later, the distance between us grew wider and wider. After learning the reason she wanted a divorce, I hated myself for speaking without thinking, for saying such hurtful words. In truth, I had never imagined a future with Elena. What I imagined was a future with her, and having an adorable child with her. Whether it was a girl or a boy, the child would surely be very cute. But when arguments get heated, we always say the most hurtful things. During the divorce period, knowing that she was doing well in a foreign country was enough for me. Chapter 19. 5 years later, I saw Justin again. He had become even more steady and calm. We reunited through company cooperation. When we met again, both of us had changed a great deal. "Lisa," his voice was cold, clear, and hoarse. "Long time no see." I pressed my lips together and smiled. "Long time no see." The man in front of me parted his thin lips slightly. His Adam's apple moving up and down. Are you doing well? I raised my brows. I'm doing very well. Thank you for your concern. I'll stop here for now. My colleague is looking for me, so I'll head over. The next day, before Justin left, he sent me a message. My flight is at 10 tomorrow. Would you be willing to come see me off? I replied, I wish you smooth takeoff and landing, and a safe journey. He and I ended here. There was no moment better than this one. At this moment, spring was bright and beautiful.